So I rated A Circle of Stars 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the LGBT relationship. I enjoyed the magical abilities in this book, and I enjoyed how the characters had really good communication. Not just the the LGBT relationship had really good communication. um they were impeccable. Anytime there was an issue, they would talk it out. They would, if they had to argue a little, they would argue a little, they would debate a little, and then they would be set and they'd understand where both of them were coming from. So I was like, damn, this is perfect. And then it also branched out to whenever you would have somebody in the society and they had opposing opinions, or they were like, how could you be okay with this? And the other person was like, well, I'm technically not okay with this, but you have to think about this logically. And how are we going to be able to have a society that still functions and is running if we're too quick about making decisions and we end up leaving a vacuum of power? Because that's what can happen if you end up, you think you're cutting off the the snake's head and then 10 grow back, you know what I mean? So I really enjoyed the communication between all the characters, not just the main relationship. I i just i got into this world and I just need the second book already. I think this book played a really good balancing act of, here are the main characters. Okay, we're going to share a little bit about the world building. We're going to give you some of the magic system. And then we're going to give you a scenario of what the magic system is. And then we're going to tell you how this society works. And then we're going to tell you how this society isn't working, and then we're going to show you how this society is benefiting one side of the society, or the top of the pyramid, versus how the society is failing the bottom and the middle half of the pyramid. So I really enjoyed that there is this constant juggling act of, here's everything you need to know, but you're not info dumped everything. You're kind of fed everything slowly. You're like, okay, here is your appetizer, here's your entree, here's your dessert. You know what I mean? And you're going through this whole book, and by the time you get to the ending, you're like, okay, well, I just needed more. And I feel like this book cut to the chase a little bit too much. It could have used with a little bit more filler. I understand the book as a whole because it was really well made. So the book as a whole, if it had a little bit more filler, I could see how some people would get frustrated and they'd be like, "Oh, we don't need all these scenes." But the book flowed really well with the pacing itself, that I think it's more of a me problem where I just wanted more of this world and I just wanted more filler because I was excited to learn more about this world. I think this entire week's worth of books, this week and a half worth of books, When the Moon Hatch, Celestial Monsters, and this book, I just was expecting more of the world and I wanted to explore a little bit more of it. So I was like, I just need a little bit more. I just need a little bit more. Besides, like, just needing more world building, I don't think I had too many problems with this book. I don't remember if I had too many problems with this book. If I did have problems with this book, I'd be making like 5 to 10 videos about it. But no, it went by pretty quickly, and I just I enjoyed the audiobook narrator, Kirk Graves. I think that was my first time hearing an audiobook from them, and I was like, this person's really good. So basically, what the story is about is this kid is taken from Earth because they show some capability with seeing this special type of magic, this special type of ether. So they take him away, they take him to their planet, moon kind of thing. They live inside of a moon, I think, if I'm completely honest. It's like they live in a city inside of a moon, if I'm correct. Like I said, I fell behind on my reviews. I read that before I read When the Moon Hatched. So I'm trying to remember as many details as possible. And he learns his abilities while he's in this city in the moon, and he's learning more about how to become a little bit more powerful. But then he ends up finding out that this society is kind of terrible. And I think that's another thing that I enjoyed a lot, is the exploration of that idea where no matter what society you live in, there will always be a problem. Because when the main character was living on Earth, they were dealing with homo fear, if that makes sense. Homo phobia, where they were dealing with that issue while they were on Earth, and how on Earth it's like this weird thing where they have a problem with homo phobia, versus their society it's completely normal, and it's actually better if you're part of the LGBT community, because it helps regulate the general population. People aren't having an exuberant blah, 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 blah. They aren't having a lot of kids. Exuberant. They aren't having a lot of kids, and it kind of helps their society stabilize a little versus the actual kids that are being had, and making sure that the kids that are being had are well taken care of, versus their society. Even though that this society is focused on other bad things, this society that seems idealistic and they're accepting of the main character's LGBT status, they also deal with their own problems, and they have a caste system. They have the whole like triangle where the elites are at the top and the workers are at the bottom. So I like the idea that no matter what society you're in, you're going to constantly be dealing with a power struggle, because somebody is always going to want to be in power. There's always going to be a war. There's always going to be classes fighting each other. It's just kind of like this never ending cycle of, when will we get it right? Well, even though we moved from one society to the other one, it's this society still has its problems. So what is the solution? But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. This book was really good. I still am thinking about this one. I think I'm gonna be thinking about this one, Celestial Monsters and When the Moon Hatched, for a minute. I kind of am thinking about the Final Strife nonstop ever since I read it, and then I read Battle Drum, so I have had that in the back of my head, and I think these three books that I recently read are also gonna like kind of stick with me, because the worlds were all very unique, and this world, I I'm excited for the second book.